let's talk everyday carry. Radios, of course. In the radio world, everyday carry spans a pretty big range. At one extreme, it can be as simple as choosing your favorite HT to click on your belt. On the other hand, it can mean a small backpack filled with things like a couple of radios, connectors, and antennas, just to name a few. Where you end up on the EDC continuum depends on your situation and even what you've got planned for the day. Hi, and welcome to the Gadget Talk channel, where we do reviews and how-tos on a variety of radio-related topics like this one. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe and click on the notification bell so you know when we post new videos. There's a join button below the video where you can learn more about why you might want to become a channel member. No commitment, just a bit more info. By way of an overview, in this video, we'll be talking a bit about how everyday carry might apply to you, how to choose the best radio for your EDC needs, what extra accessories you may want to include, and take a look at several kits or pouches you might want to consider to meet your individual EDC needs. I'll include chapter headings so you can skip around as you like. EDC can differ between people based on their needs and can even differ for a single individual based on the day and that day's activities. Moving away from the basic level, a small pouch or kit for a radio and a charger that lives in the car is a ready backup if your phone doesn't work. A similar bag with some additional supplies can fill that everyday carry need when traveling, in someone else's car, or evenings at a hotel for those of you who are road warriors. My main point is that everyday carry can mean different things to different people in different situations. So, what's the best radio for everyday carry? As with so many questions, the answer is, it depends. If you're a GMRS guy or gal, you're a bit more limited than the Ham guys, but only slightly. A good GMRS radio, even a budget class radio, can work very well. You should consider a dual band radio with USB-C charging and at least 200 programmable memory channels. You may also want to find one with NOAA weather channels for those times you're away from home and the weather looks threatening. For the Ham guys, your choices are a bit broader. Since ham radios have a wider set of features and capabilities, you'll want to decide on which of those are important to you. Besides the same dual-band USB-C charging and large channel count that applies to GMRS radios, you'll also want to consider whether APRS is important to you and if additional band coverage such as the 6 meter or the 1.25 meter band is a capability that you think is important. Oh, and don't forget about digital modes like DMR or D-Star. You may find the radio you choose for a particular day's EDC changes depending on what activities you have planned. So there's no rule that says your everyday carry radio has to be the same every day. Let's spend a minute or two talking about what accessories you should consider taking along with you. This might include taking along pre-packed pouch or case to keep everything together. Here are some things you might want to consider adding to your EDC kit. As we'll see, you might even choose to have more than one. A basic kit for short excursions and a more comprehensive kit for longer trips. So out here on the table I've got laid out some of the things that you might want to consider putting in your go bag or go box for your everyday carry issues. These obviously would go into a little bit more comprehensive pack, and we'll look at some possibilities here in just a second. But just to give you an idea of the things that you may want to consider. Zip ties. I've got 2 or 3 different sizes of zip ties over here. Here are some Velcro style cable ties. They might be handy in trying to tie down a coax. Here we've got a couple of power banks. This is a smaller capacity power bank with a solar panel on the front for dropping it on the windscreen while you're driving, that kind of thing. This one is a much higher capacity. It's quite a bit heavier, and it has a variety of outputs here. And it's got a pretty good capacity. I think it's like a 40,000 milliamp hour battery in here, so that's pretty good. You may want a flashlight. This is just a little rechargeable via USB-C flashlight, a 120 volt input for a wall wart here, a 12 volt input for a wall wart here, small flash drive, a variety of cords. And then here is a review I did recently on a window mount antenna. And so the antenna fits here. It slides over the edge of a window in a car. So if you're traveling with someone it's not yours, you don't have a mobile installed in it, this would be a way to do that. Again, in one of your more comprehensive Go kits. And you may want to add some just plain vanilla coax into this as well. But at this point, this kind of represents the idea of coax and a window mount. And then here I've got some little small notebooks that I think there are 5 of them for like $4 at Staples. And so these can go into those go bags as well, along with some pens. And then this is just a little multi-tool. And so having a multi-tool in the go bag might be handy as well. So here then are just some of the things that you might want to consider putting into your go bag. Now let's take a look at a couple of bags or pouches that might come in handy. I'll have links below. Several of these came from AliExpress. I've been pleasantly surprised at the quality, cost, and speedy delivery. So let's take a look at several possibilities for these EDC kits that you might be interested in. I think I've got 5 different bags here to show you and just give you an idea of what they might look like. And we'll show you a picture of them all loaded up too, but let's just start with the basics to start with. This one I've had for a long time. It's got the molly straps. You can strap it on a belt. You can strap it onto some other kind of rigging here. I've worn it on my belt. It's got a little clip, and this would fit for charge cables and so forth. It's got a place for a pen here, and then it's got 2 openings, and so a radio would fit in here, antenna. It could stick out, be with the way this zips if you want to have the radio on and then this one is another opening, or you could put one of the power chargers that I just showed you, or again, one of the little tools or any of the other little things that you think you might need in a small type kit. This one is about the same size. It's a little bigger. It's got a small tab on the top. It kind of looks like a miniature backpack. Again, some cables or connectors could fit in there quite easily. The wall wart for your power charger. It came with a little flag decal, which is kind of cool on Velcro. Another pocket right here that would open up and allow you some space for, again, more of the connectors, a small roll of paracord or some other things that you might fit in here. And then this has got a larger but a single capacity opening. And so you could put the radio in here. It would fit an antenna. I think I've got a little 220 antenna. So if you had a tri-band handy talkie, it would fit in there real easily. So you could fit that in there so you'd have that with you. The notepad would fit in here, and same with the pen. So this is a much smaller size, a quick little grab and go kind of pack for you. Now, these 2 packs are a little different. They're about the same size, as you can see. The difference is how they open. And so this one here, sometimes you see them referred to on their sales pages as admin bags. You know, it opens here, and so it comes across the belt like this, and so it opens from the top, open sideways. It has plenty of room. It's got pockets for connectors, pockets for a pen. It's got Velcro straps in here to hold something down, like the little wall wart or charger. That would all fit in there quite easily. Obviously, the radio will fit in there, you know, laying on its side. I've got that same little antenna that I showed you before. It easily fits in there as well. And so that's a little bit different. Here, it's got a front pocket, and that front pocket would take the power charger or any of the other things that you think you might need, you know, along with these little clips that you could put that little multi-tool in, or the 12-volt plug type charger would fit here. And then behind them, They're bigger, but still elastic, so you could fit things in there. So this is kind of small. And then if you're going all the way with this stuff, you can get some collections of little Velcro patches to put on here. I've done that. I've got a couple that I've collected. So here's one that would fit on a green. This one's Arizona, so that would fit there. The American one, they've got their backing on them, so you could, get these and sew them on a hat too. But we're thinking about Go Kits, so we've got that. Or I got this from a guy on Etsy, and this is kind of cool. And that's just my call sign that could fit on there, so it could label whose it is. And so these medium-sized bags would be fine for an overnight or a quick trip. It would get you what you needed while you were traveling, where the small ones might come in handy just to throw in the car and have with you most of the time. Now, this last one is a larger one, and this obviously is probably the most expensive of them. Most of the ones we just saw were $6 to $9. This one was about $15, but still, we're not breaking the bank by any stretch of the imagination. And this one opens up a little differently. It's got a nice big pack in the front with sleeves that we could put in the connectors. We could put in the tools. A pack here. We could put in, say, for example, I've got a spool or skein of paracord. I could do that. I've also got a roll of the narrow coax with the SMA connectors on, since we're mainly talking handy talkies and VHF, UHF. And then I've also got here an Ed Fong roll-up J-pole, and that would fit in here quite easily as well. We've got big pockets here, so the power charger would fit in here. An extra battery for your radio would clearly fit in there. Some of the other connectors would fit in these little loops. And then this is just a way to decide how far you want this to open. So it'll open all the way flat, or if you pull this tighter over here, it won't open all the way. And then on the back, again, it's got the multiple MOLLE straps. And then these straps here go over the front, and so it'll help keep it all compact and pushed together. Now that we've got the pieces and parts identified, let's see how you might want to put things together in a compact package. So let's take a look at how you might want to put together one of these small EDC pouches just for everyday carry. Throw it in the car, and we'll use these two bags as an example. And so I've got some things that I'd consider having in a bag. No special activities planned. So I would pick one of the smaller radios. This is the Baofeng. These are both the Tidradio H3s. I've got a power bank that I'd consider carrying along. Of course, pen, the little multi-tool, a flashlight's always handy, plug for a wall wart, and then a Class C charging cable along with a notebook. So in this case, it would go together really pretty easy. In this particular bag, I've got a small thing here in the front, so my little tool bag could fit in here. That fits in there pretty good. Got the pens right here, and then on the inside, this bag has got two pockets, and so this pocket, I get it open, would has a net in here, so my little notebook would fit easily in there. My power bank would fit here. And then one of my radios would fit in here, and I could either put the antenna on or take it off. In this case, I'd kind of plan on having the antenna hanging out of the radio, so I'll flip that around and have it in there like this, so I can zip it up, have it all covered up, and now I've got a nice little thing to carry along with me. So here we've got the other small bag. It differs in that it's got a couple of pouches on the outside, and so in this case we can fit our little multi-tool in here. The little wall wart would fit in here. The charge cable itself could fit in this little pocket here in the front. Fits right in there very easily. And then inside, we have a couple of pockets here that we could make use of. We can get our notebook in here. And then we get our radio. See how we've got things fit together? Yeah, there's some room in there. So let's add our flashlight. And so now we've got the radio, the notebook, flashlight, add a pen since we've got some extra room in there. And in this case, we don't have the power bank, but frankly, there's room in there to add that power bank should we want to. And then, of course, these antennas are flexible enough that if you didn't want the antenna sticking out, just disconnect it from the radio and fold it over, and we can have it here in the bag, and so the bag be a little bit more compact. And then now we can just zip this guy up, and we've got a nice little compact case that'll give the radio some protection. We'll have some of the things that we want to take along with us in it. And then, of course, this little radio is about the same size, so it would easily fit in there too. So here we've got the small admin pouch that we looked at when it was empty, and I've got it loaded up as a kind of a short trip kind of everyday carry bag. Again, it's not very small, it's not very heavy, but I've got quite a bit of stuff in here. So let's take a peek and see what we've got in here, besides putting the little Velcro embroidered patches on this outside Velcro sticky. In this compartment, I've got my notebook, I've got a pen, and I've got the larger of my two power banks. And so this one's a pretty high capacity power bank, and so I'll be able to get at least a couple of charges on my radio just using that without having to worry about access to any other power supply. And then going into the bag itself, things are kind of just thrown together in here, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast. But along this wall there are a couple of Velcro or elastic kinds of pouches that are there. So I've got a USB-C data cable, and it can also use as a charge cable right here. I've got a second USB cable. This one's a mini, so I've got two different kinds. I've got another Class C here, and then I've got a 110 wall wart or a 120 volt wall wart right here fitting in here. Just thrown on top, I've got my flashlight, I've got my little multi-tool, and then I've got the radio in here. And so we've got the radio right here, and then in the bottom I've got the antenna for the radio. So I've got the radio there, just throw it together to use it. And then in one of these little elastic strips, I've got a little flash drive. So if I had some information there on a flash drive, and if I was carrying my computer or had access to a USB to go type cable for my phone, I could access documents. Now let's take a look at that other medium-sized bag. So here's the vertical medium-sized bag, and frankly, I'm not as impressed with this one for the kind of things that I want to do. It's put together differently, as we'll see here in just a minute. I was able to get a lot of stuff into it, but it packs tight, but it has a little handle on it along with the MOLLE straps here on the back. So let's see what we've got inside. You can pull this tab up, and this opens up two nice little pockets. I've got my little flash drive in this pocket, and then I've got my multi-tool here in this pocket. We can open up the top and then unzip the sides, and we'll get to all the rest of this stuff that's here inside. So I've got room here for my power bank. The smaller power bank would work there. I've got the radio clip to this little elastic band here using the belt clip, so I'll pull the radio out here. The radio antenna sits right there. And then behind here is where I've slid my flashlight. There are just a couple of Velcro strips holding that together, and they're placed in a kind of an odd way. Not sure why you would do that. A little bit further to the outside would allow a pocket there bigger than the width of this flashlight, but it is what it is. And so I've got the flashlight in there, and then these are kind of handy on this other flap, and the other flap is the same thing. It's got just a couple of Velcro, but just a little space in between, and that's where I've got my pen. And then here I've got the 120 volt wall wart. I've got a couple different kinds of USB cables for a couple of different purposes. This one's a mini, this is the data cable, this is the plain vanilla charge, and of course I had my notebook. And so this one fits pretty well. It is pretty cramped, and so given this one or the admin bag that we looked at, I think I like the admin bag better. This is the largest of the examples that we have. So I've got a couple of my patches here on the front. There are support closures here on the sides. And then we'll open up this first pocket and fold that open. So in this case, I've chosen to put an Edfong J-pole roll-up antenna here into it. If you were going to be on the road for a while, you could hang this in a hotel window, that kind of thing, if you wanted to get out a little bit more. I've got a couple of different kinds of USB cables, the mini, the C, the data cable. I've got my pen Here I've got my little 120 volt wall wart here. I've got the multi-tool, my flashlight, another pen. In this pocket I've got my notebook, so I can make notes if I need to do that. And then in the pocket up here I've got some zip ties, and I've got my large power bank, so I can get a couple of charges for the radio here, or I can plug it in and charge it overnight when I'm at my hotel and have it with me here during the day. So that's what I've got in the first section of my pack. Now let's undo the second pack. So here I've got another USB-C, and so across the bottom I have my antennas. I've got two radios in here, as we'll see in a minute, and then I've got a 220 band or a 1.25 meter band antenna along with me in case I wanted to use that. Little Velcro cable ties here, and then here in the pockets I've got two different radios. These are a little bit bigger. This is my Yaesu FT5D, and that's going to give me digital modes. And then I've got one of my other larger radio. This is a plain analog FM radio, the Tidradio H8. And then again on the back, we've got the molly straps. We've got a couple of hooks here that you could use some carabiners on to clip this to a pack or some other strap that you might already have. But as you can see, you can get a lot into one of these. And so the bigger the case, the more thought you're going to want, because you can put more stuff in it, but that means you can forget more stuff too. So the bigger the case, more stuff, more planning you'll need to make sure that you're able to do what you want to do. As you've seen, everyday carry can take several forms. Having a couple of bags all set up with or without the radios is a good way to have a grab-and-go comm kit without you having to rustle up all the pieces and parts when heading out the door. Grab the right radio for the excursion, slide it into the right bag, and you're good to go. Now, join me over here for a recent video I think you'll enjoy. And, of course, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please know that I really appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Cheers and 73.